There we go. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. How many people here be interested in learning how to drive residual income and patience into their practice? Yeah? Interested? Thank you. There's 2 people that raised their hand. 3 people, 4 people. Excellent. Thank you. And one of the cool things that we're discovering based off of that one slide, if you're doing the same thing that you were 2 years ago, you're probably not doing what you should be doing, right? Virtual healthcare is really the future of healthcare. And leveraging virtual to create residual streams of patients into your office or people into your online website, I mean, this is really the future. And, you know, I got to tell you, I was like running up on stage here. I tore my ACL, my LCL, my MCL, my medial meniscus, grade 3, just February 17th, right? I've been under chiropractic care, and this is my lifestyle, this is who I am. And I ran up on stage. I'm walking, I can jump, you know. I am like, this is remarkable. This is chiropractic, right? This is what you guys do. And it's actually so amazing the healing that's happening. I'm getting an MRI done. You don't get an MRI from a grade 3 torn ACL, 7 weeks after you tear your ACL. But I'm getting it done because I believe it's healed. I believe it is healing. I believe my innate healing and regulating potential of the body is healing. And Dr. Matt DeDuro is helping me with that. I don't know if he's here. But really amazing stuff. And so I just want to let you know, you guys are outstanding. You guys are healers. You guys have such amazing hearts and minds to be doing what you're doing, to get out into your communities and helping the type of people that you're helping. So why don't you turn to the person sitting next to you, give them a high five and say, you are amazing. So I grew up without a grandfather. My mom grew up without a dad. He was one of the top executives at a pharmaceutical company called Burroughs and Wellcome in Montreal, Canada. And what do you do when you're an executive of a pharmaceutical company? You take medications, because that's all you know. And he developed some symptoms from these medications. He ended up developing a pretty severe case of depression, anxiety, started drinking. And they found him dead in a hotel room in a bath when my mom was only 12 years old. I never got to meet my grandfather. I believe the philosophy of the way he lived his life was what took him. And so my mom, growing up, she did what she knew to do as a mom with 7 kids, stay-at-home mom with 7 kids up in Canada. Isn't it crazy how we're all from Canada this morning? She wanted to help her kids out as best she could. And so when there was a sickness, we'd go to the medical doctor. We'd get on a medication, right? Antibiotics, I had croup growing up, all these different challenges. And one of the issues that arise was ADHD and dyslexia. I got diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia when I was a really small child. And so when I was in high school, I was in special needs to take tests. It was humiliating. It was challenging for me to be dealing with what I was dealing with. I was on Adderall. I was on Accutane for my acne. I was, just taking any medication that the doctor would throw at me until I met Dr. Ed Gendrich, a chiropractor that changed my life forever. I walked into his office. He gave a doctor's report, and it everything made sense. I was like, oh my gosh. Why are we taking, I was like 13 years old at the time. I was like, why are we taking medications for my ADHD? I knew that there was something more inside of me. I knew that this wasn't all that there was to life. I felt like at that time I was just in this black cage of despair, I just wasn't able to function the way that I wanted to. My brain, I couldn't use my brain the way I wanted to. Fast forward to December last year, I put on a brain course online that went out to hundreds of thousands of people. We made a few $100,000 in 1 week. But this is the power of virtual, right? This is the power of getting your message out virtually. So I go to this doctor 3 months in. 3 months in, I got a complete transformation in my health. It was like I walked out of a dark room. I got off all my medications. I was essentially transformed. And from that day, I can remember I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to help other people like the way I was helped. And so what my doctor said was, he goes, listen to these tapes. And it was of Sigafus. So I listened to a bunch of Sigafus tapes. And then I said, I want to become a chiropractor. Like, I need to become a chiropractor. So he goes, you got to follow the philosophy. And at that time, Guy Reekman was at Palmer. And so I visited Palmer, and then he left to Life University. So then I was like, I just got to go to Life. I didn't visit Life, but I got to go to Life, So I came down to Life University. I ended up getting an international academic scholarship, which if you fast forward or rewind to me being in special needs to getting an international academic scholarship, it's pretty remarkable, right? Wouldn't you say? Aren't you guys amazing? Like, pat yourself on the back and say, as a chiropractor, I'm freaking awesome. Thank you, yeah. See, you guys are liberating kids like me, and if you look around society, like Dr. Scott was saying, there are so many more kids dealing with ADHD and dyslexia and autism. I go and coach and train doctors over in Japan, and that's the #1 country in the world for autism. 1 in every 25 children have autism. It's because they're adopting these same principles of outside in that is shifting and creating toxicity within the nation. So here I am at Life, and I just love it. I eat it up. I become a student ambassador. I'm like closing people on becoming chiropractors. And, I go through chiropractic college. I learn a lot through that process. And one of my mentor's daughters actually is in the audience, Olivia Pompa. Dr. Pompa was one of my mentors through school. And how many people know Dr. Pompa, by the way? Yeah, good guy, right? Yeah. So, I took all that I learned from what I went through in school, and I decided I wanted to build the biggest chiropractic practice in the world. And the best way to do that is to actually work in the largest chiropractic office in America at the time, which was Dr. Dan Yachter. How many people know Dan Yachter out of curiosity? Okay, great. So I was in Dan Yachter's office, and I was working inside of Dan Yachter's office for over a year. I did my peak in his office. I did my clinical program in his office, and then I was in his office, and it was an amazing office. And we were serving so many people, seeing 2,200 patients a week, and it was just, I was kissing babies every day, hugging, adjusting, educating. It was like my dream, right? It was so unbelievable. And inside my heart, I was like, I was disenchanted still, because I saw people that were needing to get under care that weren't getting under care. I saw a sick community, and it's like, man, we're the biggest chiropractic office in this area, and there's so many people around us sick and suffering. And that's when I created this vision of impacting 1 billion lives by 2040. How do I create a vision to impact 1 billion lives by 2040? It's out of what happened to my grandfather. It's what happened to me growing up. It's the awakening of what is actually happening in the 21st century with people getting cancer, heart disease, diabetes, of children with vaccine damage and autism, right? And who has the solution? The focus that most of these doctors have and the industry has is how much money can we make? And what are the best ways to manipulate the practitioners to be our drug dealers to get them to make us more money? And I'm sorry, that's just not going to work for me. And I'm gonna pour my life into impacting as many people as I possibly can. And so I created this vision. I'm like, how is this even possible? How am I gonna actually impact 1 billion lives? And it was during this time where I saw the internet like really taking off. And so one of my friends who was one of Tony Robbins' top students, and he kind of thinks possibility, right? Just like our friend, that ended, Dr. Scott ended his presentation about a seedling, like you have to have a dream, right? You've got to start somewhere. He said, Isaac, why don't you just do what you're doing virtually? I'm like, dude, I'm a chiropractor. I've got my hands on patients. That is impossible. And he's like, yeah, but think about it. Like, you've got a message. You could go out and get this message out virtually and impact a lot of people, and you could go across borders and impact people not just in America, but around the world. Fast forward 3 years later, I'm working 2 days a week in my virtual practice. We're doing 7 figures, working 2 days a week. I'm working with the royal family in Saudi Arabia. I'm working with stockbrokers in London, England. I'm working with the CEO of a Vincent accounting firm in Sydney, Australia. I'm working with one of the kind of Tony Robbins top kind of motivational speakers in Japan. And it's like, it was happening. And it didn't happen as fast as I wanted to. And I wasn't feeling like I was impacting as many lives as I wanted to. But my virtual practice was launched. And I had this awesome virtual practice that a lot of doctors who I went to school with are like, Isaac, how are you doing what you're doing? Dr. Axe was one of the first people I masterminded with and talked to him about what I'm doing virtually. Dr. David Jockers, how many people know Dr. David Jockers? Yeah. He's like, what's going on with how you're creating what you're doing online? Dr. Josh Wagner. All of my friends in school were like, hey, how can I replicate this? How can I do what you're doing? And so I would sit down with them and we'd create like a framework of how they could impact more people online and how they could take their message virtually. And if they want to do a virtual practice, here's how you could do a virtual practice. If you wanted to create an impact with people through digital programs, here's how you do that. And here's how you can sell supplements online, create residual income, and impact people through a supplement company. But ultimately, the ultimate goal is how can I, as an individual, impact 1 billion lives by 2040? And the answer is not in myself doing that. It's in you sitting in the seat, believing in yourself, having a dream, creating a dream for yourself of possibility of, oh my gosh, you know what? If I think that I can do this, and if I can follow a path that other people have followed successfully to not just live a great lifestyle and create amazing freedom, like the lifestyle's great. I've got 3 little boys at home. The individual introducing me said, I've got a beautiful wife, and I get to spend a lot of time traveling the world and, enjoying life with them. And, it's a great life. It really is. And, if I just finished 3 weeks of vacation, and through that time, we made just as much money on vacation as when we weren't on vacation, right? So that's the kind of cool thing about virtual. But, ultimately, the way that we're going to be able to impact healthcare is through doctors getting dangerous with this amazing weapon that we have, which is called the internet, and going virtual and taking these simple strategies and solutions to get your voice out there to more and more people. And that is exactly what is happening right now. So the 2 ways to really drive residual streams of patients and income into your life and into your business, whether you've got a virtual business or just a brick and mortar, is to build an email list and cultivate a relationship with people on email. That's number 1. And number 2, it's to have something to sell to them, which is typically like a high-ticket consulting program. And a lot of people, they bog themselves down into like all of these questions, and they never get started because they're wondering, how many months should my program be? How much should I charge for my health program? How do I impact 10,000 people or 100,000 people in a week virtually? How do I have what Dr. Jones has created, working 2 days a week in a virtual practice, but making 7 figures, or Josh Axe, exiting a company to a certain degree, like selling a certain part of his company with a valuation of $320 million, right? Guys, this is happening right now. And I want all of us to start believing in each other and ourselves to be like, you know what? I need to start creating a vision for myself that includes virtual. That includes, how can I get this megaphone in my hand and use it with power to impact so many more people that are crying out for you? So, quick story of how to use these two things, which is an email list and something to sell, which is typically a high-ticket program. Taking your expertise and knowledge and just converting it right into a program. And because you're a doctor, if you go virtual, you already have so much more authority. The most people that are killing it online right now are just like, I've been to these online marketing events. I'm like, what are you marketing? It's this obese person that's marketing, weight loss online, right? There's no integrity there. So you as doctors that have the vitalistic philosophy, if we go virtual, think of the impact that we can make, right? So Dr. Davidson heard me present on reverse engineering your dream life at a chiropractic conference back in 2013. And he comes up to me afterwards, he's like, Isaac, I need to do this. I need to create this for myself. He goes, you've just shown me the limiting beliefs that I have and how I can really upgrade my thinking. And already Dr. Scott and Alvin, gosh, was Alvin not just amazing? How many people were just in tears over what he's, unreal, right? Unreal. So I say to Dr. Davidson, he's got this successful, busy chiropractic office. He's like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But I want to implement some of the things that you're talking about. I'm getting burnt out in practice, and I'd love to be able to make a bigger impact, with people around the world. So we created this strategy for him that included, really taking his expertise and creating just one funnel. And guys, it doesn't need to be complicated. Everyone that wants to leverage virtual to impact people, the reason why they don't get traction is because they make it too complicated. I have to do Facebook, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. And it's just, you need to follow this simple, strategy. And what he did was he created a funnel. And then he got eyeballs on the funnel through what I could, I don't have time to get into that, just because my time is up and I want to honor the time. But what he ended up doing was he ended up creating a virtual practice. Within 6 months, he made his first $400,000. And within a year, he broke the 7-figure in a virtual practice. He ended up moving to San Diego, California, with his wife, where he was able to help her heal from Lyme disease. He needed to invest more time with her to help her overcome some of the health challenges that she was dealing with. And ultimately, what I want to say to you is that it is possible to create a brighter future for yourselves. It is possible to step out and stand in the gap for what is possible for other people. And it really starts with you believing in yourself, that there's a possibility for you to actually do what I'm talking about. So, I'd love for you guys, if you want to stay in this conversation, go to healthexpertsalliance.com. That's healthexpertsalliance.com. Go ahead and write that down if you're wanting to stay plugged into what we're up to and what we're creating. But I would just love nothing more for you to take what Dr. Scott said at the very end to heart. It takes a seedling, right, of just a small belief to create a dream that can change and transform the future. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. God bless.